On the night of March 9, 1945, the city of Tokyo went to sleep, unaware that it was about to experience the deadliest air raid in human history. By sunrise, more than 80,000 people would be dead, 1 million would be homeless, and vast sections of the city would no longer exist. This was Operation Meetinghouse, the firebombing of Tokyo. By early 1945, World War II was nearing its end, but Japan refused to surrender. Its navy was broken, its air force weakened, and its cities increasingly exposed. Still, Japanese leadership showed no sign of giving up. The United States faced a terrifying calculation. An invasion of the Japanese mainland was expected to cost hundreds of thousands of Allied lives, and possibly millions of Japanese casualties. American military leaders searched for a way to force Japan to collapse without an invasion. Their answer was fired at first. The U.S. tried precision bombing, the same strategy used in Europe. But Japan was different. Its factories weren't massive steel plants, they were small workshops, hidden inside homes and neighborhoods. Most Japanese cities were built of wood, bamboo, and paper, packed tightly together. Two American planners. This made them extremely vulnerable. In January 1945, General Curtis LeMay took command of U.S. bomber forces in the Pacific. He believed precision bombing had failed. His conclusion was blunt. Japan's cities themselves were the weapon factories, and they could be burned. On the afternoon of March 9th, more than 330 B-29 Super Fortress bombers took off from U.S. bases in the Mariana Islands. This mission was different. The planes flew low, just 5,000 to 7,000 feet above the ground. Most defensive guns were removed to carry more bombs. Fighter resistance was expected to be minimal. The bombers carried incendiary weapons, napalm-filled firebombs designed not to explode, but to ignite. Just after midnight on March 10th, the first planes reached Tokyo. The target was eastern Tokyo, dense, working-class neighborhoods filled with homes, families, and small factories. Pathfinder aircraft dropped flaming markers. Then the bombing began. Firebombs burst open in mid-air, scattering dozens of burning fragments across rooftops and streets. Within minutes, thousands of fires ignited at once. Tokyo's fire crews rushed into the streets, and were instantly overwhelmed. Water pressure failed. Roads clogged with fleeing civilians. Entire neighborhoods ignited simultaneously. And then, something far worse formed. The fires merged into a firestorm. Superheated air rose violently, pulling oxygen inward with hurricane-force winds. The wind knocked people to the ground and fed the flames even faster. Temperatures soared so high that asphalt melted, metal twisted, and wooden buildings vanished in seconds. People suffocated as oxygen was sucked from the air. Others were burned alive while running. Families fled toward rivers and canals, believing water would save them. Many drowned. Many were boiled alive as the heat became unbearable. Some victims were found later, fused together where they had collapsed. For nearly 3 hours, the bombing continued. By the time the last B-29 turned back, 16 square miles of Tokyo had been erased. At dawn, survivors emerged into a city that no longer looked real. There were no streets, only ash. No neighborhoods, only ruins. Bodies lay everywhere, many burned beyond recognition. Parents searched for children. Children wandered alone, burned and silent. Tokyo was still smoldering when the sun rose. The final toll will never be known. Historians estimate 80,000 to 100,000 people died in a single night. More than 40,000 were injured. Around 1 million were left homeless. More people died in this one raid than in either Hiroshima or Nagasaki. Individually, and yet, outside Japan, many people barely know what happened. American leaders justified the attack by arguing that Japan's war industry was inseparable from civilian life. Destroying homes meant destroying production. Burning cities would break morale and force surrender. General LeMay later admitted that if the United States had lost the war, he likely would have been tried for war crimes. At the time, however, the raid was considered a success, and it did not stop. Operation Meetinghouse marked the beginning of systematic firebombing across Japan. Dozens of cities were burned in similar attacks. Hundreds of thousands more civilians died. Still, Japan did not surrender. 5 months later, the United States dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, events that would come to define the war's end, overshadowing the firebombings that killed even more people. In Japan, the night is remembered as the Great Tokyo Air Raid. Memorials now stand where entire neighborhoods once lived. Survivors carried their trauma for decades, often without recognition. The firebombing of Tokyo remains one of history's clearest examples of total war. Where civilians became the battlefield, it forces an uncomfortable question. How far can a nation go to end a war before victory itself becomes a tragedy? Pause. Softer tone. The night Tokyo burned is not just history, it is a warning.